Use the method of least squares to determine the slope of the line of best fit for the data below. Okay, so we're using the method of least squares, which there is a formula for finding the slope for this line of best fit. We have a lot of data here. We're first going to look at this formula with some simpler data. So first let's go ahead and look at the formula for the slope. Our formula for the slope, which is m equals the sum, that E sign means the sum, of each of the x values minus the mean x value times each of the y values minus the mean y value. All of that summed together divided by the x value minus the mean x value squared, and that summed up for all of the x values. Okay, so this is our formula for slope. I'll break it down for you. Let's first, instead of looking at this table, we're not going to look at all this data because that's a lot. We're going to look at some simpler data. We're going to look at just these three data points, 0, 4, 1, 1, and 2, 1. And what we're doing when we're using the method of least squares is looking for a line of best fit. So we're saying, should we draw a line that looks like this? Does that fit these points, or how far off are they there? Or should we, is the line of best fit maybe more like this? How far off of the point are the points? Oops, that one's not that far off. How far off are the points if we draw it that way? So we could see there's a little bit of a difference there. If I draw maybe at a still positive line but a different slope, which of these lines is the best fit for my data? That's what I'm really looking at here. Okay, so we're going to take our data here and we are going to plug this data into this formula, and I'll show you a way to break that down. So we're going to go piece by piece here. So the first thing is we need our x and y values. So it looks like our x values are 0, 1, and 2. So let's write that down. 0, 1, and 2. And the y values that go with that are 4, 1, and 1. So 4, 1, 1. Okay. Next thing that we are going to need to fill in the next column is that each x value minus the mean x value. If we go back to our formula, we see that's right here. Each x value minus the mean x value. That's this part right here. So let's go ahead and let's find the mean x value by adding all of the x values together, 0 plus 1 plus 2, and dividing by the number of values, 3. So we get 3 divided by 3, which is 1. Okay, so let's write that down. The mean of x values is 1. Let's do the same thing to find the mean of our y values, which we'll need because in our formula right here, we're subtracting each y value minus the mean y value. So we need the mean y value. So let's go ahead and say the mean y value is equal to 4 plus 1 plus 1, each of my y values added up, divided by the number of y values, which is 3. So I get 6 over 3, which equals 2. Okay? So my y mean equals 2. Okay, let's go ahead and make some space here, because now I'm going to need to take each of my x values and subtract the mean x value. So I'm going to take 0, and I'm going to subtract 1, and I'm going to get negative 1. Then I'm going to go and do this again for the next x value. I'm going to take 1, and then I'm going to subtract the mean, which is 1. So 1 minus 1 equals 0, so that's 0. And then I'm going to do my last x value, which is 2, and I'm going to subtract the mean, which is 1. So 2 minus 1 equals 1. Okay? So that's that. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my y values. I'm going to take the first y value of 4. I'm going to subtract the mean, which is 2. 4 minus 2 equals 2. That goes here. I'm going to take the next y value, which is 1. I'm going to subtract the mean, which I got here, which is 2. So 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And my last phi value is also 1, so it's also going to be 1 minus the mean of 2 is negative 1. There we go. Now the next step was to take these x minus the x values and multiply by the y minus the y values. Okay, so let's do that. So we're going to take, we are going to take let me find another color here for us. We're going to take the negative 1, and we're going to multiply it by the 2. So we get negative 2 here. We're going to take 0 and multiply by negative 1. We get 0. And then 1 times negative 1 gives us negative 1. Okay, next we are going to find what goes in this column, which is x minus x squared, or x minus the mean of x, which is this column here, and we're going to square it. So that's negative 1 squared is going to give us 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is just 1. 0 squared is 0, and 1 squared is 1. Okay, so we have everything we need here. Now all we need to do is plug it into our formula. Our formula says we need to take the sum of all of this. We need to sum up all of these values, and we need to sum up all the values we got in that column as well. So we're going to take the sum of those. Oops. So let's go ahead and sum up these. Right here, 2 plus 0, or negative 2 plus 0 plus negative 1. The sum of those is going to be negative 3. And then over here, 1 plus 0 plus 1, the sum of those is going to be 2. And now our formula says we take this sum and we divide it by this. Okay, so let's go back here just to make sure. We take this sum, we divide it by that sum. Okay? So we're going to take our negative 3. Oops, actually let's make sure we know this is how we find m. M equals negative 3 divided by 2. So that's my m value. M is negative 3 halves. That's my slope. So I know my slope, this line of best fit, will be negative. It's going to be negative 3 halves. So that is how you find the slope. The slope for those data points was negative 3 halves.